Hi everybody, this is Dino Chris from Prehistoric Facts. This is Answering Questions episode, so let's get right to it. Alright, John from South Sioux City, Nebraska. He actually has the Dragon King versus the Devil of the Sticks. Same or different. Now, for everyone that doesn't know, these are actually translations of the names of the dinosaurs. Dragon King is actually Dracorex, and the Devil of the Sticks is actually Stygimoloch. So, now, the debate between whether or not Dracorex and Stygimoloch are actually the same species. It was actually conducted by Jack Horner of the Museum of the Rockies, and what he actually is proposing is that Dracorex is actually a juvenile dinosaur, and Stygimoloch could be like another juvenile, otherwise a subadult species of possibly like Pachycephalosaurus. Now, when I actually look at these skulls, the skulls are very different. And what he's actually proposing is that the skulls morph through time. Like basically the dome of the head gets bigger, the spikes on the head get smaller, and they're not actually going to be used for headbutting that much. But you see, I disagree with partially about this theory, mostly about this theory is basically this. Is that since the dinosaurs' closest living relatives are actually crocodilians and birds, and when we actually look at how they actually form from juvenile to adult, baby crocodiles or alligators almost look like the adults, but they're smaller. The only thing that actually changes is basically their skin, because basically the skin of a baby doesn't have the bony plates of the adult. So as the baby gets older and older, it actually grows the bone underneath the scales, and those scutes get bigger, and also they actually become well more defensed from any kind of predators that would actually possibly try to eat them. Whereas birds, when we actually look at birds, there are some things that would change, but it's just all about growth of something on the skull. It's mainly like a fleshy appendage, or otherwise like some keratin horn, like out of the rhinoceros bird from I think it's from South America or Africa. I can't remember. But what he proposes that the males of the rhinoceros bird is actually changing its skull. Now, when I actually look at the rhinoceros bird, I actually see that it's basically the males. They actually do have the keratin on when they're actually hatchlings, but it's just basically this. It's very small. But as they get older, that keratin like structure would actually get longer and bigger, and it would become thicker. And what he's actually saying is that these dinosaurs' skulls morph through time as they get older. But I don't see how that's possible. Because you see, amphibians do that, and some invertebrates do that. I mean, what could actually possibly change from the skull? Because you see, I would actually suspect, because if they were morphing, I would say the brain structure would actually be changing, and also and some other parts of the skeleton would actually be changing as well. I disagree with this theory because it's basically that I think he's actually trying to find something that is actually really out of the blue, that is something like further away from paleontology. I think he's just trying to look at like how animals actually become juveniles to adults, but he's looking at it from a different perspective than what a lot of evolutionists and mainly biologists would actually kind of look at it. Most biologists would actually kind of disagree with them, because you see, it doesn't make any sense to actually say that this actually would happen. but since he does have evidence that I don't actually have, and also he actually has evidence that a lot of other paleontologists don't actually have, so it could be that he could be leaning towards something. But I mean, it's just mainly that he's just trying to lump a bunch of dinosaurs to one single species, and that's kind of really pushing it. And I think he's just trying to push paleontology into a different direction than what a lot of some new coming paleontologists are actually kind of going to be doing. And so since I'd say that Dracorex and Stygimoloch are actually their own species, because since that their skulls are so different, and also their bone structure is so different, and also their size is very different, because since I would say that probably their skulls were used for pushing and shoving matches than actually butting heads. They could butt heads on occasion, but that's just mainly if they're very close distances, and they wouldn't be going at high speed either. Because if you're going at high speed, they could actually break their skulls, and that's not what you want to do. If you're actually fighting for territory or for mates, that's basically what they'll probably be doing. Dracorex, Stygimoloch are actually their own species. That's my opinion, and hopefully that can actually help out. Now, the next questions that I actually have are actually battle questions. And if I can get them up here on my phone here, I can actually see what they are. And this is from Edery from the UK, and his first battle is African wild dogs versus gray wolves, pack versus pack. This is actually a tough one, since that gray wolves are actually live in harsher conditions than the African wild dogs, so that would make them like tougher in terms of adaptability. But African wild dogs, since they're actually almost the same size or a bit larger than the gray wolves, so I would say that the African wild dogs would actually have a much more powerful bite. But the gray wolves would actually have stealth, and also they would probably have much better brain power. So it's hard to actually pick which one I could actually say would actually be the winner. So I would say this is a toss-up. This is a big toss-up. I can't even predict who might win this one, because you see they're almost even in terms of what their skill sets are. And his second question is short-faced bear versus cheetah, speed versus speed. This is an easy one. Cheetah, obviously. You see, a cheetah can actually run up to 70 miles per hour, whereas a short-faced bear, based on calculations of the bones and also how the skeleton is actually structured and how the muscles would have been attached, it could actually only run about 30 to 40 miles per hour in a straight line. And you see, that's the thing about the short-faced bear, is that it's not really much of a hunter, so it wouldn't actually need to hunt very often. It would actually probably be more of an ambush predator when it had to be, but mainly it's not going to actually run for great distances at times. It can probably like give a good jog for probably a good period of time, and that's basically what its pace is going to be. It's going to be like, see, the short-faced bear is kind of like built like a cat, or otherwise a horse, where it's actually got really long legs, both in the front and the back, and it actually is well equipped for traveling great distances. Since the short-faced bear is actually much more of a scavenger than a predator, it would actually probably just mainly be looking for kills, like the saber-toothed cat, Smilodon, Vitalis, or otherwise the dire wolves would have actually been taken down. And whenever this animal came up, whenever the dire wolves and saber-toothed cats came across this thing, when it actually approached the carcass, it would look really intimidating, and especially when it's actually standing up on its hind legs. It's actually 12 feet in the air. It's a 12-foot tall bear, so you would not mess with this bear at all. You would not mess with it, especially because if you look at like how bears actually behave when you actually get too close. it pretty much is that it's a big defense mechanism for them, is that they just react instantly and just basically go, you're my territory, get out of here or I'm going to kill you. And so that's pretty much their mentality. Cheetahs, on the other hand, are actually built for speed. They're actually built to capture fast-moving prey, like gazelle, sometimes wildebeest, and basically it's just mainly going to go after gazelle, because when you look at most footage of cheetahs running and hunting, you see them chasing gazelle. They're chasing gazelle all the time. So pretty much be their main food source. And considering that cheetahs are not as tough as like leopards, hyenas, or lions, so they would be very fragile to actually face any of these kinds of animals as well. So whenever a cheetah probably approaches a lion, it's going to get out of there as quickly as possible. So since when you look at cheetahs, they're very lean and they're not as well muscled, so they're really well equipped for speed. Because you see, when you don't need that much, you don't need to actually have really powerful muscles in order to actually have great speed. But sometimes when you actually need to have like really fast moving speed, you do need powerful tendons and muscles to actually go at that kind of speed. But since that, when you look at the muscles of lions compared to cheetahs, lions have much more muscle mass, so they're pretty much going to be heavier and also more powerful than the cheetah. So cheetahs would actually be the ones that'll be victorious in like a 40-yard dash. So if you actually put the short-faced bear up against a cheetah in a 40-yard dash, cheetah's actually going to win, like, basically by blowout. It's basically going to win by blowout, so it wouldn't be that much of a problem for the cheetah, since it would actually just be so fast it could actually just outrun the short-faced bear and just leave the short-faced bear just eating dust when it's past the 40-yard line. Anyway, that's it for now. So next week will actually be a special episode, and so I'll actually post a link about the list of dinosaurs. Make sure to post what dinosaur you want me to talk about on the Facebook fan page, Prehistoric Facts with Dino Chris. And also you can actually still send me questions about any dinosaurs or other prehistoric animals. Just email me at dinocris71@gmail.com, or otherwise you can just post the questions on a post on the Facebook fan page. And like to see some good questions. And pretty soon it'll be Velociraptor Awareness Day, so that's on the 18th. So hopefully I can actually get something pretty cool for that week. And if you got questions about Velociraptor the day after Velociraptor Awareness Week, feel free to send me any kind of questions about Velociraptor. I'm willing to do that. I'm going to do a presentation about Velociraptor on the 16th for my club, so it would actually be pretty cool for me to actually get some insight, give people some insight about Velociraptor. And also, you can follow me on Twitter at CSGRALL. And also, you can make sure to take care of the people around you. And also, for younger people out there, make sure to listen to your parents, your teachers, and your guardians. Those are the best motivation you can have for a good education. It's very important to have a good education. With a good education, you can get a good job in the future. And I'll see you guys next week.